Ooh, you called it that.
Yes.
Birthday episode. Interesting.
Birthday episode. How many years will you be making?
31.
Oh my old. Yeah. Let's substitute gold with old.
What the heck?
Oh my old. 31. For the record.
Yeah, you should respect me more.
Yeah. Definitely. Maybe at the end of this episode, I will have.
You should venerate. At the end, you should venerate and touch my toes.
Oh.
Like, I respect you, my elder.
Isn't that a fetish?
Hey, welcome to #WinDubGuzichiwanuka. This is the #1 African millennial podcast that sits at the intersection of mental health, self-discovery, and personal growth. If you're new here, welcome to your new virtual home. Be sure you hit the subscribe button wherever you're listening in so that you don't miss out on any of the future episodes. And if you're a returning listener, thank you so much for being the heartbeat of this show. What's your name though? Someone used to drag me for introducing myself, and I was like, one day there is someone who'll be hosting. So,
hey,
I don't think you've introduced yourself. What's your name?
I love to let it marinate.
Marinette where?
In here.
Marinette.
Keep you guessing.
Vanity.
So, you're probably wondering why you're hearing my voice and who I am. My name is Richard Mugambe Jagaban, and I am a producer, photographer and videographer at Solutions Now Africa. The reason as to why I have come here is to do a very special birthday episode. Anyway,
Retraction.
This episode is a reversal of roles. Nabuguzichiwanuka is normally the one in control. She's normally the one issuing out questions, orders. Today she has come as a guest on her own podcast.
Yep.
And the reversal is it was born out of curiosity. I basically wanted to share with the world how I feel about you, how I've experienced you, how amazing it is to be in your space.
How amazing.
Yes, it is very amazing.
It was
to be in your
nice.
space. I find you very intuitive, very opinionated, definitely. Sometimes
you're going to make it hard for me to find a husband, my dear.
I don't know about that, but that's on him. Yeah. If he feels intimidated by you, I am actually enjoying you. So this
we just came
is
from talking
fun.
about fetishes. How you are? My dear.
Yeah. I am not going to ask you your fetish.
No.
That is a little too X-rated.
Yeah,
But
my podcast is not R18.
yeah. The very, very first time I met Nabuguzichiwanuka, just so you know, she corrected her name, me. She corrected me saying her name more than thrice. So the very first time I met this iron lady.
Iron.
Yes.
I'm a very soft girl, my friend.
I cannot even remember.
Soft girl era.
How long has it been?
2 years.
Have we made? Oh, so
Yeah, but I didn't talk. We didn't talk
yeah.
then.
Yeah, but the interaction I'm counting on is one where we talked about a very controversial documentary by Matt Walsh.
Right.
And that documentary is titled, What is a Woman? That was the very, very first time I interacted with you.
I don't even know what
verbose.
happened.
All I remember is that I wanted to talk to you again and again and again.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So, this is what I'm exactly doing.
We've been talking, though.
Are you sure? This deeply? I think the connection has
this
been...
deeply?
Yes! By the time I volunteer to override you and take over your podcast, this is deep.
But if you're talking about Matt Walsh, I don't know, was that the first day?
Yes, that was the
But
first
how did we get to that?
I think the conversation started around
Because it
confusion
was
about
so many
gender.
it was so many months
Yeah.
without us talking. We knew each other, but we weren't talking.
You are a hi friend to me. Hi.
Okay.
Welcome to the space and all that. But then this one conversation, I think you found me watching something around gender.
Is it?
Gender reversal. The topic is very, very hard for me, and I promise not to spend a lot of time talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But all I remember is that I was very confused.
Yeah.
So you made reference to a documentary called What is a Woman by
Mm-hmm.
Matt Walsh. And the conversation it generated made me stay forever. So basically, you have me in a chokehold, a friendly one.
Okay.
Yeah. Fast forward 2 years later, I didn't even, to be honest with you, I didn't care much about podcasts. I didn't
Before
care-
then?
Yeah. Even then, when I met you, you had gone around and about how you do podcasts, but I didn't care. I honestly didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It had never occurred to me. Never.
At all, like no podcast. Not
Yeah,
one bit.
I didn't really like them. I was not paying attention to them.
Okay.
Yeah. Then the conversation we had started to build a curiosity. And then I bought an iPhone.
What are you talking? How is that related to podcasts?
It has an inbuilt podcasting app. So I was experimenting.
Okay.
And then I
okay.
so happened to land on this amazing application that allows me
Apple
to get
Podcasts.
podcasts on go. So I started to experiment. And just so you know, your podcast was not one of the things I started with.
It's okay. I would understand. We see people talking about how they love us so much, but
yeah,
they're like that.
Yes, that brings me around to one other thing I love about you. It's your ability to smell out. I don't know if this conversation allows me to use this language. Am I allowed to?
Don't overcast my people.
Yeah. to bullshit you.
I don't like it. I call it there and then.
Yeah.
I call it out.
One of the things I learned about Nabuguzi Shiwanuka is she hates being told, I love your work.
What is it that you love about it?
Thank you very much. That's the statement that comes after. Immediately after. She'll ask you.
It's vague.
Yeah, what do you love about my work?
Yeah.
And you remember that we have had some uncomfortable conversations around the people you blew?
Yeah.
Because they said that to you?
Yeah.
Why are you like that?
Well, I don't like liars.
You don't like liars, but every human is a liar.
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
It shouldn't be coming from a place of pretending to be what you're not.
They want to get in your space. Maybe a little trade-off.
And that kicks you out.
A little trade-off would not hurt.
No, it would on my case. Because if I'm engaging with someone, I'm coming from a place of Birungi. Kirungi likes talking about authenticity. And for me, it's a big thing for me with the connections that I have with someone.
Definitely.
I want you to be as honest with me as it can get. However nasty a conversation gets, I would wish that you tell me the truth. I'm not saying that I tell the truth 100%. There are times when I have to save my ass from some stuff. And definitely I will say just a few things to save myself.
I feel you.
But then you can't Jagaban. You have introduced yourself as a producer,
Videographer, photographer.
right? I cannot come on out and say, okay, Jagaban does this thing. For me to start a conversation with him, let me just go and tell him that I love his work when I've not.
Oh,
For me, I find it.
Okay.
I feel like it would even haunt me. Like, you told lies. Like I was talking to these guys recently, this office.
Yes.
When I was in the meeting with someone.
Okay.
And they told lies. They were like,
Can you please regenerate the lie? You can save them the embarrassment.
I've it might not give her business. So she was like,
do you care? For the
I
fun
do.
of this podcast, we need that fact.
Wait, she was like, I have been consulting from her on legal matters.
Whoa! When was the last time you practiced?
Hold on, let that question come. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I almost told her, no, you don't. Like,
you should have done it.
No, my body stiffened then because I was like, you are, in my head, it just kept re-echoing in my head. You are telling lies. You are telling lies. Like, what?
Okay.
But then I was trying to make sure that my face doesn't show a lot. But I was in shock. But the moment that meeting ended, I was like, you have told lies. Like,
has it occurred to you that you can just let it slide for purposes of peace?
I don't know how to do that because even when I used to use taxis,
tranquility.
Hold it. Even when I would be in a taxi and someone says, like, maybe we're in Lubaga, and the person says, I'm in Mukono, my head is definitely going to go up like, you are telling lies.
For peace, humans need to lie to each other.
Yeah. Okay.
It actually eases human interaction. I don't know how factual that is. That is in my experience. And sometimes you remain uncomfortably silent to protect people.
Of course, I didn't out the person.
Okay. Just
it doesn't stop me. I don't know why I still get shocked. Like I told these guys, I'm a lawyer, I'm an adult, but I don't know why lying still gets me like, oh my God, you have lied.
It gets you off.
You have lied. I like meeting someone for the very first time and they're like, hi, bestie. Like, what the heck?
Bestie?
From where?
For the very first time?
Yeah.
That would trip a lot of alarms. I
avoid that girl to death.
Yeah. So, by the way, that quality makes you kind of an asshole, but nice.
Oh my God, you didn't meet me as a teenager.
The fact that you...
That's where I was that.
You are upfront about it.
Oh my God. If your breath stunk, I'm telling you then.
Oh, no.
Right now, I can just,
No.
That's,
No.
Yeah. You didn't meet me as a teenager.
We are not doing this. We are not doing this.
Right now, I just sit on the side. Like
I think it would be nicer in Luganda. Can you try?
In what sense? What exactly?
You telling someone they had bad breath. You're not going to do it.
No, I did it.
Yeah. Quality number 1. Chiwanuka is so direct. So direct, so upfront. I can't bullshit you. And one of the things I have had to do is to calculate my conversations very, very carefully before I talk to you. I told you.
I don't think
right?
that's good.
No, not like
it makes it sound like people are tiptoeing around me.
Maybe a little bit.
They shouldn't.
I stopped tiptoeing.
They shouldn't.
Yeah, I have kind of created my own connection with you that allows me to be natural around you. It allows me to be very free.
I like that.
So that's one thing I like about you. You're very direct.
Thank you.
Very, very direct. Quality number 2. It was your podcast. Can I tell you about the first time I listened to your podcast?
After saying that, are you going to put a background of it? We're clapping.
We shall look for Malema. You know the South African.
He's a politician. Julius Malema.
Anyway, I will not make myself look unread by telling you what he does because I'm not very sure.
He's a politician.
I will just tell you that the clips that surface online of him are very funny.
Yeah, he's a
very,
funny
very
guy.
funny. So probably in the background we can use one. Yeah. I came to experiment. So I was, and I wasn't in a bad place. You call it a home of mental health, mental wellness, mental fitness. You say a lot of things.
I never said fitness. That would be, oh, wow.
What do you call it normally when you're talking about this podcast? Even in the intro,
Yeah.
there's a lot of words you use to.
Do I?
Yeah.
I'm the boss. Is that what you're saying? Oh, no, I'm not.
You do.
But
I think the producer will roll it back for us at this exact moment, just so we can hear it.
Hey, welcome to Hashtag Windav. This is the #1 African millennial podcast that sits at the intersection of mental health, self-discovery, and personal growth. If you're new here, welcome to your new virtual home. Be sure you hit the subscribe button wherever you're listening in so that you don't miss out on any of the future episodes. And if you're a returning listener, thank you so much for being the heartbeat of this show.
Yeah. So I came to this podcast too, just out of curiosity, to extend my understanding about who you are as a person. And the very first thing I landed on was you talking about New Year resolutions. Do you remember?
New Year that's the very first episode I published.
My.
You listened to it? The very first one?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
Yes.
The very first one?
I did. I don't know if it was the first one, but it was. If that's what you're talking about, I did. The things I had.
Wait, the very, very first one?
Don't overdo it. Don't overdo this.
Like, what are you doing? Why did you go there?
Yeah.
I cringe at my very first episodes.
Unfortunately for you, I have good news. I liked it.
Was it the first one, you're talking about the way how I started this year?
Man, I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
All I know is that the very first thing I interacted with. Okay, let me tell you how podcasts make sense to me. And I'll go around and about with it. But you'll relate in the end. There's two types of people you've met. You agree?
I want to hear.
The first type is the kind that read things and relay the information just to look smart. You agree? Yes, you do. The second type is... I know it's true. It's very true. It's a personality. I don't know about personalities.
Yeah, I've definitely met some people who want to sound smart all the time.
Yeah. And they are nagging. In Luganda, they say Bajijina. Yeah. Yes.
Where did you get that word from?
I know some Luganda. A little.
Sounds, I don't know.
It's very true.
Okay.
Yeah. So they irritate me a lot. So those people. And then there's you, the category where you fall.
Which one is that?
You know stuff, but when you're talking about it, you don't relay the information as is. It's like you contextualize it. And that makes it very beautiful to talk to someone, in my perspective. Every time I'm talking to you and you don't sound smart, but you sound well-read, well-informed, and you know your way around a subject, I am going to like you. It's a non-sexy turn on for me.
But surely. Can you consider my podcast?
Half the people who listen to you have feelings. And I know I'm appealing to some of those feelings.
Okay.
Yeah. You agree?
I do.
So 5 months down the road, I am a very loyal listener of the HTNK podcast. Yay, clap for me. Yeah. And I refuse to give you a review. Do you remember the reason I gave you?
Something about first having a full experience of it?
Thank you. I can never give it to you before. One, I have to be in the right headspace before I can write a review.
Okay.
I can never review something I don't know. That would be bullshitting you. By the way, I love you so much. As a friendly.
Hey, my God.
Yeah, I need to disclaim before you start going like,
Thank you.
So, audio theater, you've created that. Yes. Before it runs away from me. Do you know that I make comparisons between you and your podcast and other podcasts?
You did. At some point you mentioned, and I felt like it was the people that you mentioned.
Yes.
Some I have not.
Mark Manson.
I've
subtle
not,
art of not giving a fuck.
I've seen the book going around, but I've
Yes.
not read it.
Yeah.
I think at some point I tried to go through some pages, but I didn't get to its completion because it was in digital format. I'm really terrible with digital books. I want to hold the book and smell it.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, so
Here's some part of Nabugozi.
at least, yeah, I do. I sniff books like,
Jesus Christ. Is it a fetish?
oh, you get out of my podcast. Yeah, but at least I've known of the existence of that specific title,
Yes.
and then
I
you
also made
went
reference to DOAC.
right.
Can we talk about DOAC for a minute?
I have. Whoa, Jesus Christ! I have. Like, I can't even find
Can you please
I cannot
say
even
it?
find the exact words for that because I have mad respect for Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah.
Like,
I wish you could listen to this.
I'm sure he knows.
Steve!
There's somebody.
Steve!
Someone
That's
should
for
tag
you.
him. Someone should tag him.
But there's a...
And he gives me some money.
oh, God. You have killed it. There's something else you said about Steve.
Well,
I don't know if you're coy enough to re-echo it
what
to
part?
the world.
I had a crush on him.
How you
Is
feel
that
about
it?
it? Oh, yes, she has done
In
it.
the beginning, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's his face or the British accent.
And
There's a way how they speak. Like,
I asked you a question. Like, I mean, I am straight. I always ask you, what is it about Steve? Every time I see Steve, I see motivation, I see money, I see nothing about people's sexual curiosity ever comes into my mind.
I have mad respect for him. And why did you have to bring up the other side? I have mad respect for him for how serious he took
This is a
podcasting.
podcast, not an office space.
Definitely.
I'm not your boss.
You also shut up.
Wow. All right. Let's go.
Crickets. No, I have mad respect for how he carries or carried, still carries actually, his podcasts and the story of how he started, that he used to record from.
I don't even know it.
I do. From
I just
how
know I
he
enjoy
used,
him.
how he started out recording from under his blanket or duvet, whatever term he used.
To mute sound? To mute
Yeah,
noise?
it really
To
has a
muffle?
way how it condenses, the way how we're in studio right now. I've had stories about...
Quick pause. We've just been recording this podcast. This is the 27th minute. Imagine that under a blanket. I am sober. No. Thank you. For me in my life...
Those are people those are people that are known. What encompasses a universe? Because I was going to say
I know
universally.
you, and for me, you make a lot of sense. No, let that sink in. And I'm not bantering now. I am serious. Your conversations
Those guys are...
I'm talking. Take your flowers.
You
make a lot of sense for me. You get me?
I get you.
Yeah. Now you can continue. Dodge.
You've thrown off balance. You've thrown me off balance. I have mad respect for these guys. They have taken on, worldwide stages, I would say.
Yeah.
And what? Those are people I look up to. Not in the format of taking on worldwide stages, but the knowledge that they come with. Of course, I've not listened to all the others, but at least I know of their existence. I've seen the subtle art of
not giving a fuck.
Right. That I've seen that book going around and people sharing about it.
You should read it. Or if you don't,
I need
stay close to Mark Manson. He doesn't like to be bullshitted like you. Like every time I listen to you, I carry forward. I listen to Mark. I'm
very humbled, to be honest.
Fashion. Yes, you deserve to be in that space. For me, the way I've experienced you.
Yeah.
Now that I'm talking about experiencing you, that's it for me.
I'm humbled. Thank you so much.
Yeah, let that sink in.
Sure.
Okay, I promise to give you a podcast rating, but at my own time.
You go away.
And the convenience.
You even end this podcast.
Unfortunately, I am just beginning to enjoy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to introduce a very good and very interesting session after the break.
After the break?
Yes.
Okay. This podcast is highly sponsored by Thrivees. Thrivees is the first mental health product line with affordable products you can use whenever you need something to lean on for emotional or mental support. Currently, we have coloring books of all ages and affirmation mugs. There are some new products coming up, so you need to make sure that you check out Thrivees on Instagram and Facebook so that you don't miss out on the updates. And yes, listener donations are also welcome. You can drop your donation on 0770338440. The number is registered in the names of Navu Network. If you're not in Uganda, remember to add the country code +256 770 338
Well, welcome back from that very short break.
Where there was no tea, no.
Unfortunately,
juice.
I do not owe you. Sorry. Yeah.
My comfort matters.
This is your podcast. So every transgression.
Do you not care about my comfort? You just want to fire me with questions.
You know that tomato situation? I feel like I want to tell you yes, and I feel like I want to tell you no. So for now, I don't.
It's okay now.
Sorry.
It's okay.
But the people who do have a very fun round for you, they created a gamified round where they are going to ask you a couple of questions that are going to give them a sneak peek. I think their fetish is you.
Why are you overusing that word though?
I like it.
No, don't. What's your problem? That's how you cast us there on the panel.
Can you not reveal me?
They already know you, man.
You can't reverse that. Anyway,
what?
These people wrote down a series of questions that they would love you to provide answers to. And then probably you satiate their curiosity about who you are.
Okay.
Question number 1. Yes. What is your journey of transition from whatever aspect of life?
That is really broad.
Yes, it came from Sarah Nankunda.
That is really broad because there are different aspects of my life.
Can we help them narrow it down to your creative life?
Transitioning as a creative?
Yes, transitioning from...
That's a bit complex because I feel like I have naturally... The things that I'm doing right now, I have been that kind of person. Save, like, if
You've always been a talker.
Bro, I've been punished in school all the time for talking. All the time.
Is that your
To a
childhood trauma
point-
speaking or you?
Do not overuse words that might bring wrong things.
If for example, the word childhood trauma scares you.
It doesn't scare me, but you are worried as specifically as a mental health podcast. You should be worried about how people perceive some topics. There is a way how
Very true.
some topics or struggles have been, for lack of a better word, I'm going to say
Casually bundled about?
waterfied.
No. Watered down. I think what you're looking for is watered down.
They have been, that's what I was trying to look for. There's another word actually. They have been oversimplified and it extends a stigma.
Okay.
So it's I would rather, and I think it's also seen in my conversations that I have with people. I am quite careful with how I bring out some topics.
Yes.
Because I sit at the intersection of different things. You said as a creative specifically, I don't see myself transitioning as a creative.
Where did you come from too?
I think I've always been this kind of person. I've always said it's embarrassing for me to call myself an artist because it's been a while since I practiced art, since I drew or painted. I don't paint, okay, I just draw. It's been a while since I drew. Why am I still saying painting? Jesus.
What's the difference between painting and drawing?
Oh, friend, I feel like painting is hard. Because with my drawing, if I have a pen and a paper there, I'm just going to start sketching out something.
Anyway, I am not here to debate technicalities.
Exactly. So
because I might not even excel.
So I've been really a creative. I love singing. I've not done that.
Please don't.
Now
Thank
I'm bringing.
Please don't sing.
Respect me, my friend.
I don't know if we are dragging it too much, but anyway, there's a comfort I got in realizing that you can't be like everyone else.
You can't, of course.
Because Nabuguzi is a podcaster does not make me one just because I'm in her circle. You get me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you trying to put across?
I'm trying to say don't sing.
I sing.
No.
Mad.
Please don't.
As in, it even sounds vain. You're making me be vain on my podcast.
It's not your podcast at the moment.
Sorry, you're making me sound vain to the listener because it's not. I've not even come to a place where I be like I sing. You say that, but you're pushing me towards that direction. But I am in. I like what we're trying to draw to is the fact that I'm really a creative with different arms to a point that it's a challenge. In 2019, I think I experienced some form of anxiety because I wanted to be present for everything that I can do. So I had to sit down and ask myself questions about what it is that I cannot live without. Like if I had to shed my skin and take away some things, what can I put aside? So I knew I had to stay. I don't wear that.
I'm just saying.
So I had to stay with the law work, with the legal work. I had to stay with my foundation.
Okay.
I had to have these conversations, although they had not started at that time. So to answer Nankunda, I don't see a it's broad.
Transition.
But I don't see it. Like you said in the creative space specifically.
Yes.
Because she did not really narrow it down. So I don't see myself transitioning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Maybe for the part where we brought in microphones to have these conversations. That's where the transition happened.
The reversal in roles?
No. Microphones, podcasting. I've always had the conversations outside the podcast.
Sita Victoria. Payment. Earnings. Payment earning. What do you have to say about that? Do you make money off your art, of your podcast, of your creations, of your music?
My music. I don't.
Yes, your music is going to take a lot of stray bullets in this conversation.
No, don't. Don't
will.
even try. Don't do it.
Has your art, your music,
my art? If you're going as far as art, I have my law lecturer was the first person who paid for my art.
Ooh, how much?
He bought the piece at 150,000, which I felt like was a lot of money, but he just paid straight away, and that's like 2014, I think.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
the very first sale.
The very first one and last one, I was like, this thing is going to kill me. Wow.
Okay, you've kind of killed.
Maybe I'll do it in my old age. That's what I told someone.
Until recently, I don't know much about art, but I think artists sell better after they've passed.
Ooh, sad.
Yes. Have you noticed?
I think I have. There is more consumption of their work when they're...
Yeah, the greatest artists of all time have all sold in their graves.
Yikes.
Yeah, and it's so dark.
I'm not an artist. I need money. You better give me money right now.
The conversation.
I need money.
This specific conversation is about money.
Yeah. So I have earned from that angle. I have from the podcast, it's not really direct because monetization is still wanting, especially on the continent.
Very tricky.
Especially on the continent. Other podcasters elsewhere have their accounts monetized and things like that. But Africa is still struggling in that angle. But I have been called to train. I think the very first time I may have been called to train was when I had to train civil society organizations.
And what were you sharing?
And I made... What was I?
What kind of expertise?
Podcasting. That's what I say. From podcasting. Okay. And I got paid in 2 days an amount that was like my 3 months salary. And I felt guilty. I felt like I had stolen.
By the way, can I tell you something exciting about the content creation world? So for those who are not very familiar with this landscape, we have a day job, what you call security, the one that gives you rent, electricity, and it's not a lot of money. However, it pays more when you do a gig.
It's crazy.
A lot of money, a lot of creatives survive off gigs.
But
that's
surprised.
A conversation for
definitely
later.
That's another day.
Yeah. But I just wanted to point out that particular, it's a fact, actually. Yes, I can put the word fact onto it. It's a fact. So please carry on.
Yeah, I've earned from trainings. I've earned from selling merchandise, podcast merchandise. And just, I think 2 days ago or yesterday, my Nigerian friend in the UK, Bibian Chinenye, shared one of the cups.
Is that a flex? Is that you?
Well, in what sense? She shared.
That you have friends in the UK?
Well, I should because UK sits in top 5 listenership of my podcast. So
that's also something.
That is number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she sent me her mug and I was like, should I bring back the podcast merchandise? Because for some reason I just abandoned that. It's like, I don't know. I felt weird. Like,
I think from the outside, it's very easy to assume that something is doing well.
In what sense?
Say, for example, if I see you parading around merchandise, branded merchandise, and I see people making a few buys every time I see you with it, it's very easy for me to come around to the conclusion that, she's selling, she's making money.
But it's been a while since I last sold merchandise. Podcast merch.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I think her last... Maybe which year did she buy? I think the other year, 2022.
I mean, it's you they bought from. Don't ask me.
I'm not asking you. I'm just thinking out loud.
Keep it to yourself.
I'm just thinking out loud.
It's not allowed here.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's really that.
Yeah.
I don't make money directly from the podcast.
Then yes, they.
What did she call it?
Victoria.
Did she say creative or just podcasting?
Yes, she said earnings and payments for creatives.
For creatives.
Podcasters. Yes.
Stroke podcasters. Interesting. Yeah. I've gotten money as a writer. That's like, oh my God.
How many things do you do?
That's the thing. You don't know me.
You remind me of a Swiss knife. You know a Swiss Army knife?
No, I don't.
Oh, Jesus.
What does it look like? What does it do?
Oh, Jesus. A moment of silence for Nabuguzi Chiwanuka. She does not know a Swiss Army knife.
Do you think that embarrasses me? I don't know everything. It doesn't call for a moment.
You're so well read.
Barely.
To me, you are.
That's why when someone calls me smart, I'm like,
Yeah, from my point of view. You're not allowed to call yourself smart. I'm allowed to call it.
Okay.
You get?
What does the Swiss knife look like? What does it do?
Never mind. Google it.
I will not, because it's not my interest.
It's a very boring conversation about a very useful tool.
Okay.
That a person, if you are 31 right now and you haven't interacted.
I'm not yet. I'm going to be 31 tomorrow. To be specific, I was born at midday, so 4 minutes past midday.
Contextually speaking, you are.
I'm not yet.
Let's stop arguing about
context carries time.
You're 31.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm going to be 31 tomorrow.
For a 30 and 360 plus days old, and you don't know about a Swiss Army knife, you're never, probably, ever going to use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We go to the next question.
Yes. The next question is, what pushes you in an economy that underpays creatives?
I did not come for pay. That's the thing.
Oh.
That's the thing.
So you do it because you love it.
I just love to have the conversations. And I was like, if there is an option of having these conversations, why not go for it?
What keeps the lights on?
So the
lights, please.
They're now on. Why are you asking me those questions?
How do you make your bread?
No, this is I've not. I was the time when I started. I was doing.
You look bougie.
I do.
Yes, you do.
How?
You look like you have money.
I do?
Yes.
Why? What makes me look like I have money?
You look good. People don't look good without money. Anyway.
You leave us. That's how you people are asking me questions like, where is your man? You cannot look good without a man.
Who talks about men in
this?
That
is the same thing. Even poor people can look nice.
That is so shallow.
Even poor people can look nice.
Looking good and a man have no relationship. At least a direct one, according to what I know.
Yeah, but I did not start for the sake of money. It was just for the love of conversations, and I thought that we could have it on a bigger stage, and that's the podcast, because I was having it like when we get to talk one-on-one. And I was like, so how about we have these conversations on a bigger scale?
So do you...
And then...
Is this your happy place?
I love it. I feel livened by conversations. But...
Are you feeling alive right now? How am I doing?
You're trying.
That breaks my heart. That breaks my heart.
You're trying.
I hate you. Anyway, keep telling us about underpayment. And how you don't care about money.
Oh, I love money. Let me tell you something. But the beginning, it was years later that I started hearing questions about, so how do you make money out of it? And I'm like, I have to make money out of it? Like, it was very confusing. Like, what? Wait, what?
Okay,
what?
How do you determine? This is a very good question.
Mm-hmm.
How do you determine your worth as a creative? Can you put a price to it?
The time invested and the
Yes.
knowledge that I have about a specific field, my expertise as well. I don't know if I have to call it that, but there is a reason as why you're choosing me to do something and not someone else.
It could be that you're cheap.
Ouch.
Yes.
Hey! No, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at the knowledge I have and also basing on that money that I got in those 3 days, and I felt like it was a lot. And then when I talked to someone, they were like, that was actually small money. You're a consultant. You should have charged me. I was like, I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what?
You've used a very, very heavy word. Consultant.
Yeah, that's what he said. It's like, that's little money. You're a consultant. You should have been paid more. I was like, I'm sorry, what?
At what point do you get to wear that title? That label?
Consultant.
Yes. Because in the content creation world, it's not like you are... Pay very close attention. You can't really put a price, but you can put a price. You can't put yourself on a certain level, and yet you can. So it's there's a bloodline. So I think for purposes of...
My dear, I am a podcast consultant. But you know, when that comes,
we shall debate that.
When that
time.
If it comes out that way, it would almost feel like I still lack in the field of monetization. Yeah, like when someone asking me those questions, if I do not have a mapped out plan in as far as monetization is concerned, that's where I don't think...
it doesn't bother you over much.
I don't think I would be a consultant.
Okay. You want another question? Or you want some water?
Give it. Let's go. Let's talk.
You want tea?
No, I don't. You don't have anything, my dear. Just ask the questions.
Whoa. Oops. Are you revenging when I told you you're cheap?
At I'm cheap. You wait when I become expensive.
Doubt. Yes. Melvin Nasasira. Could you share how your upbringing and experiences growing up influenced your decision to start your foundation, practice law, host a podcast, and work in mental health advocacy?
My upbringing. I think my upbringing is only connected to the foundation.
I think what he's basically trying to do is wrap around your childhood around who you are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My childhood in the things that I'm... Yikes. Also mental health. My... yeah. Like, yikes. But mostly it's the foundation that made me... That easily gets attached to my childhood experiences.
Okay.
Like growing in luck and finding yourself in a position where... Okay, it's mostly mom that was showing up, like 99% of the time. And then an uncle came in and he could support. So I know what it's like to lack and not being even sure that your education is guaranteed. Yep. Like, they come to read out the names of school fees defaulters, and your heart is literally in your mouth.
Yeah.
Like... You're stiffened
somewhere down the...
You're stiffened on your desk.
Yeah.
Because
somewhere
you
down
are...
the ranks, your name is going to be said out.
Of course. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to go home. And then your name is non-read.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, mom mastered the art of talking to buses. Like, that was the thing. You get into school, that's the first person you have to meet.
I feel like this part is not even funny. It's real.
So for me, I knew what it's like. And I did not think it was directly connected to my childhood until I first had a conversation with a friend. His name is Boniface Clever. Lukwago, Council. He found me working on a newsletter for the foundation, and he asked me about it, and I told him, and he was like, "Are you an orphan?"
Lord Jesus.
And I was like,
where would that come from?
I was like, wait, what? So for him, he was like, what he was trying to put across is that if someone has direct connection or experience in something, their advocacy revolves around that.
Oops.
And in honesty, my mom struggling is because she's a single mother.
Okay.
I had never connected it. But the moment I remember when he asked me, I think I put away my phone. I was like, wait, what?
I think that says a lot about your mental health advocacy.
Exactly. That's why I was like, it's only work. It's only the foundation. And then I was like, wait, yikes. Also mental health. Because I struggled a lot with coming to terms with my father not being present.
What does that... Because you see, those little childhood, I do not want to label them. They have a way they make it into the future.
Of course,
Where are you right now?
We are products of our childhood.
Do you believe you are more aware of it? You can overcome? Yes.
I can overcome?
Overcome that kind of scenario?
What kind of scenario?
Presence. Doesn't that have direct...
Him not being around?
Yes, it can actually seep into your relationships.
I did make peace with it, because I went from feeling less than, because I joined boarding school and I was hearing kids talking about both parents, and I had only one parent to talk about. So I avoided those conversations because I felt like I didn't have anything to contribute to that.
Isn't that
or I would feel like
dealing with
I'm seen to be less than. So I noticed when I think a lot about my period when I joined boarding school, I became really quiet. Really quiet.
You are not quiet.
But I'm telling you.
Loud.
But I'm telling you. I'm telling you, you didn't see me in my primary school. You didn't see me join boarding school.
Circumstances made you...
I became silent because I was struggling with that. I mostly lived in my head asking myself questions like, why did this guy just die? Couldn't he just stay around? So I went from waiting for him to come back because I knew he would return one day, to being angry, like, how dare you? At least he could have waited for a day for us to experience each other, because he died before I was born. So,
have you made peace with that?
I think I already answered that. I did.
No, I want to hear it again.
I did.
Good.
I went through grief on my own as a kid for a very long time. For I don't know how many years.
Keep talking.
Yeah.
Is that it?
It is.
It sounds like you have a lot to unpack. Even now.
Like what part?
Do you really want to get into the touchy-feely parts of yourself?
So if he's asking about the part of mental health, because I've at least tackled the part of the foundation. For mental health, I think that's where my struggles that's where my story begins. Because I remember when I was talking to the therapist.
Okay. You went off the rails.
Right. Okay. Like, especially that part of my dad. That really...
I think the next question speaks about, so if your childhood shapes you into a certain person, I think Okello Herbert's question would exemplify who you became.
What is it?
As a result of your childhood. How do you manage to balance legal work, creative work, and challenges raising funds for the children you take care of?
How do I balance?
How do you balance legal work, creative work, and your foundation?
How do I balance?
Yes. Very good question.
I think passion is at the core of the two.
Let me give you a rain check.
Legal work is There's no passion there.
Let's put a rain check on that.
Okay.
Do you know that as a creative, you are taking away from yourself?
In what sense?
You're giving away a part. You're sharing. The best word I can use is sharing.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving away a part of yourself. So you need to center yourself, create what you're going to share, in this case, experiences, and then you go on and then share them. You get what I'm trying to say? That as a creative, where do you tap your energy?
It's passion. Passion doesn't answer it?
Yeah. I don't think it cuts it for me. At least not in full. Yes, in part, not in full.
It's passion, to be honest. I can't find another answer to that. Like, I've had days when I've not expressed myself, especially in writing, let me say, because maybe I don't talk. Right, okay, that's a lie. Where I don't say something that I feel that is on my heart, I feel clogged. I feel like there are emotions that I haven't expressed.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Passion? It must be. Because I can't also sit comfortably knowing I can cause a change in someone's life and then I don't do it.
For me, as a creative, I don't think I love to give away so much of myself. So passion,
but it depends on what
requires.
It depends on your.
Yeah.
You can't say give away yourself if you're not in a mental health space.
Can you?
Because how are you talking about? How are you talking about? Let me say, how are you talking about mental health and there is barely a connection to your experiences? How are your conversations relatable? How are you going to be able to see some other person's struggles?
I think I give away from a place of plenty.
What do you mean?
The reason as to why I share what I share is because I would not be hurt if it left me. You understand?
But I wouldn't be hurt if... you feel like
it's not directly related to you and directly in the same way. Okay, let me explain. To create this podcast, you share a lot. You have to think outside the box. No experience has to be the same. You have to think outside the box. You have to entertain us. You have to excite us. You have to keep us engaged. And that requires
what box are you talking about also?
Can you not?
I also don't. If you're saying
the box is
which
the
box?
work, the creation. Okay.
But I don't think art can be boxed.
You are going to make me look very bad.
No, art cannot be boxed. You see that?
It could be.
It can't. Because we have different ways of expression.
It could be in the sense of how I'm describing it.
Perhaps
I know your question is going to be, how is that?
Perhaps everyone has their own box, I think.
Yes.
So you can't, and if it's subjective, you can't say that someone is thinking outside the box. Unless you are saying that there is a format that every artist has to follow.
No.
You see that? That's why I'm saying,
okay.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. No place, even a tank of water, needs refilling for it to keep being called a tank of water. And if you notice that the plumbing has a pipe that feeds into that tank for that tank to then feed the people who need the water. You get what I'm trying to say? As a creative, you need to source. You need to tap from somewhere.
Do you think passion depletes?
Yes.
How?
Have you ever done something? It began as sport. you wanted it, you chased it, you drank it, you lived it, you loved it, you experienced it, do it. Then a point comes when it feels like a job. It doesn't feel exciting anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to get to.
I'll draw back to one of the guests that I've had on the podcast. That is Kagai, Peter Kagai. Right now he calls himself Ngobi Kagai, I think. In his sharings, in the conversation that we had, he said, always remember why you started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please talk about why you started.
I told you I love conversations, and it's the reason that's why I started the podcast.
I am going to keep taking you back.
And I know for sure that the conversations on mental health are very important because, like I said, I went through grief on my own.
Okay.
As a kid, and got to terms with those struggles on my own without involving any adult or any professional. And these struggles kept changing from grief to I want out this person. From like there are a couple of struggles that came in between that time from being a child to being a teenager to being an adult, different struggles. All were things that I was dealing with my own.
Okay.
Until 2019, I think, when I was like, okay, there's such thing as mental health. Okay, how about we read into it? I'm like, what the heck? This is what I was struggling with. What the heck? Why are people dismissing this? Like, there are all these layers.
Like an onion-like experience. You wrap and layer.
You keep getting to layers. Like, oh my God.
Yes,
my God. Oh my God. There is,
yeah.
It just keeps happening. Like, there is no end to it. And then you're hearing things like, oh, I'm African. I cannot be affected mentally. You're like, are you kidding me? If you're African and you're the same African with
that is a thought mentality.
with what is this thing called in Botabika Hospital?
Yeah.
If you're African and you have Botabika Hospital, how do you want to reconcile that fact? You know? So raising awareness, of course, is very important. I came through the dark. I think if we're also talking about passion, I'm also looking at where my source of healing started.
Okay.
Because it was through a story I landed on YouTube. Lisa Nichols. Whoever knows Lisa Nichols knows her story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't.
You have to look, because that's how I had to sit through 54 minutes or something. You want me to tell her story?
You can do it in summary.
No, of course she struggled and went as far as being diagnosed to have had depression.
Okay.
Of course, I didn't understand that, but the way how she relayed her emotions and shared her experiences and how she overcame this kind of related to what I was struggling with, although silently, and I didn't really understand that. But yeah.
Okay.
It's my way of paying it forward.
I see.
Through content creation. So on the question on how I balance the call for the foundation, it's really about the beginning of the term where the pressure is felt. But by mid, it's easy, to be honest. It's not like, of course I have them at the back of my mind.
Yes.
Like, I have to keep some debts. Like, make sure you don't forget the VDs because you'll be a terrible parent. Don't forget to pick the kids from school. So I don't feel, collection of funds is a little bit, to be honest, I've been blessed. Like I said, I've been blessed. Like, yeah.
Okay.
The pressure has lessened, especially for the fact that I managed to secure a half bursary with that friend of mine, Boniface Clever, in his school. Okay. It really played a big part. Legal work, that pressure has really lessened.
Okay.
Because
you
quit.
So you
left
got
them.
rid of...
I left them.
Wow.
Yeah. So the legal work currently has almost become a side hustle.
Another question. Are you ready? Chirungi Brendalin.
Kirungi. She
Kirungi.
corrected me.
Kirungi.
Yeah.
So for her, she would like to know what your long-term plan is with podcasting and the network in general.
I saw that question and I was like, sure. Sure.
Yes. What's your long-term plan?
Hey, man, this is like I'm on a think tank where
Where
funders
are
have to
you
go.
going?
I don't know, so.
It's taking a sneak peek behind you.
But
wait. Did you just say you don't know?
To be honest, I don't. I got
That's odd.
so the podcast. That's what.
That's odd.
Exactly. Like, and I noticed we have this thing where we want to be in control of stuff all the time. And I think I don't have that skill. I like to have a natural flow of things.
Okay.
I'll tell you for a fact that Nabu Network got registered last year and the podcast has been older than the network, right?
Yes.
But the podcast right now falls under the network. And by the time we closed 2023, because I registered in April, when 2023 started, I didn't have the two ideas that closed the year. Because we had the mental health garage.
Okay.
Where we are looking at, okay, if we are advocating for mental health and my listeners or followers are saying that mental health services are expensive, how about I find a creative way of engaging with them at a subsidized cost? So I reached out to psychologists and we had the very first mental health garage. And in that process of preparing for the mental health garage, I was asking myself questions like, okay, so if we have solved the question of, if we have kind of, because it's not, because even for the small fee that we put, for the small fee that we put, I think people are still struggling with that. So if we have kind of solved the question of, okay, it's expensive, how do we make them accessible and affordable? I had to ask the question that came in thereafter the mental health garage. I was like, what happens outside the mental health garage and outside the podcast? When someone is on their own, how are they dealing with life? And that's how Thriveis came to place. That's how we have products.
Yeah.
So the future of NABNet, in as many ways as we can advocate and make mental health understandable and accessible, I am going to look for those ways. Whether it be, of course, it has to be with a team. I can't do everything on my own.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I was going to say whether it be on my own. No, I'm not gonna play savior. But the future the future of the network, Nabu Network, has got to have all those services that are going to be helpful for someone to deal with mental health. And I don't know, man, Kirungi is very bright. I don't even know if I've answered this question very well.
You can do the best you can. Yeah.
I'm sure she's going to be like, yeah, I was not satisfied with the way how you said that. But
please leave feedback in the comment section if you do not feel very satisfied.
I can always come back and give you the answer. But in as many ways as we can advocate for mental health,
yes,
of course there are some plans underway that I cannot say out already because some people are weird.
Summarily.
Some people are weird. They can.
Wow.
Yeah, but in as many ways as I can, we are going to raise mental health awareness in Uganda and on the continent.
Still, Kirungi asks you, everything kind of has a lifespan, a shelf life. And she wishes to understand if you believe in retirement. And if yes, what does retirement look like for you? Because you can't keep doing this forever.
Yeah.
Your energy, your nonchalance will not go on forever.
Do I believe in retirement?
Yes.
But I think I'm capable of podcasting as an old woman.
No.
But you will be younger, so you'll be the
Without
one who will
teeth?
be. Doesn't your grandmother talk? Do you have a grandmother?
Yeah.
She doesn't talk.
She's too old.
But by the time my grandmother died, she was using those artificial teeth. So I can also buy.
I would like to see you with a
No,
pair.
but the belief in retirement, of course, I knew I was not going to. I believed I would be a sad adult if I stayed in law.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I knew I couldn't do it past 35.
Can you not judge?
No, myself. I'm talking about myself. I don't know about
Judgy.
other people. Other people are, no, it's just about myself. I was like, if I stay in law, I'm going to be sad.
So you run.
The time came. I thought about it earlier, but then the time just came and...
You hit the brakes.
But that's in as far as the ordinary practice. Because I'm still doing legal work.
Yeah. So retirement.
Retire from law, my dear.
You'll keep podcasting for as long as you have some blood in your veins?
I believe.
That's interesting.
I believe. Yeah.
So you
But
are
I think
going to
I'll
be-
do more art as an old woman.
I do not want to see what that would be like.
There are different forms of art. Jesus, you need to educate yourself about art.
Do tell.
You wait for my old age.
Yes.
That is if you're alive. You also pray for life.
I hate that you are doing this, but let me use her next question to escape you.
She has
Yes. Are you able to quantify your impact beyond the online space? I think I can answer that for you. Ish.
Tell me.
And then you can start from there.
Tell me.
I'm a very good example of that.
In what sense?
Our friendship.
Mm.
Yeah. It started here,
Mm.
then it carried on. Don't you believe?
Am I able to quantify my impact
Yes.
beyond online? By online, I don't
Yes.
know if she's looking at numbers.
That's the thing. I am wrapping it around my understanding of it.
Okay, so initially, of course, I was looking at, oh my God, when do I make it to 1,000 downloads? And I got to a point where downloads were no longer motivating. I was like, yeah, that's obvious. Yeah. And then the question, the core question for me is, can this episode have an effect on someone's life?
And you ask that every episode you do.
Yes. Every conversation that I hold on the podcast has to carry a relevance.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why someone cannot just say, host me on my podcast. And I'm like, and you say what? Not because you don't have anything to say, but I do not know from what angle that you're going to come.
Okay.
You see that?
It has to make sense.
Yeah, does it align with the values? Because if I'm not seeing where you're coming from with it, it's going to be hard for me, and I don't want to waste people's time.
That makes
I've
sense.
had. Let me see. I'm going to read a message here.
Okay.
That message still makes me yikes. Feel like shock.
Was it feedback?
Yes, it was. So this particular lady, I think we had spent even a year without talking, and she came to me. I'm seeing this was April last year.
Please, we are listening.
And she had changed numbers. And then she was like, we last spoke at a specific show. I won't mention the person. I haven't listened to the podcast in a while. My life did full on. Okay, that's sound. listening to your journals has been wow, and week 8 in particular has had me in my feelings. Yo. Wait, what did she say? I've forgotten where she put it.
Keep reading. Keep digging.
I'm now just recovering and trying to get back to the things that made me feel whole.
I really
which
think
includes your podcast.
Wow. Can you read it again?
I haven't listened to the podcast in a while. My life did a full-on flip on the worst. I'm now just recovering and trying to get back on the things that made me feel whole, which includes your podcast.
Do you know how beautiful that sounds?
It's beautiful and scary at the same time.
Yes, you carry a certain responsibility.
Yeah. I was like, yikes. I actually saw the message. Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the message and ran. I was like, I can't respond to this now. Like, what do I tell her? I was like, why is she... Because you can make a mistake.
Yes, I understand.
I can easily mess up someone's life with that kind of responsibility on my hands.
I think
if I'm reckless with my podcasting. So I have to be extremely careful with how I possibly hold the conversations and the kind of line or trajectory that I'm taking the podcast. So there is that whole thing. The impact is in the lives of the people that are listening.
Yes.
I don't know when she says quantify, I don't know from what angle or how I have to put it, but one life changed or one life
you have an impact on.
Yeah. For me, that's the whole thing. Even if it's just one person for an episode. Yeah.
Before I go to Petero Mukama, I just want to say it should tell you how much responsibility you're carrying. You have managed to create an audio theater for us. And it's weird because that's how communities are born. You started it on your own. You didn't know it would take on a life of its own. But here we are.
It's now the one taking me. What?
Yeah.
Sure.
So Petero Mukama has a very interesting question, still in that same line. Does that inspire you to get up every morning and work at the podcast, even when we know the financial returns are dismal?
Yeah.
Please tell us.
Like I said earlier, I struggled on my own. And this is like a change of narrative for some people. If people can see themselves in conversations of other people and not feel like what they're struggling with is remote or feel like I am on my own, it's a solution.
Okay.
It's maybe half a solution where you feel seen. I saw myself in Lisa Nichols' story, and that was the beginning of my recovery.
I don't know who she is, but I think I should take some time.
I don't know if you'll find one of her old... She was invited somewhere. I don't know that guy's name. I never get it.
Yes. Petero. What is that one or two things you'd want to see and change about society through this podcast, through your work?
The one thing that I would love for us to change
about society. No, not for us. For you. This is about you.
Because I think it's a lot of burden to have to carry society on myself. But
unfortunately, it's your episode. So
okay. So the thing that I would love for us to change is to be cognizant of the fact that of the magnitude of mental health.
Okay.
Yeah. It's disappointing that people that consider themselves land
stray bullets.
No, it's to be honest, I've felt really disappointed a couple of times.
Another stray.
Like, get out. How do you consider yourself? It's disappointing.
Keep talking.
How do you consider yourself
I sense a lot of bitterness.
Yeah, like I'm triggered right now. Like, how do you
That's
sit?
a very heavy word.
Exactly? And I'm sorry for using it. Like, how do you feel like you sit on the throne of knowledge? You're the same person that people are stupid. I'm sorry to say. They are. Like, are you serious? How are you talking about?
So you just want us to pay more attention.
Can you actually educate yourself?
Thank you. That's what you should have said. The other one was too harsh.
No, it's very and they keep going and going. That's where I think the anger comes from. Like, are you kidding? You have access to the internet. Instead of sitting and dismissing people's struggles and trying to belittle them, can you get yourself educated?
I don't think that. Anyway,
like you have access. Like, you just come on the internet.
Yeah.
To misinform full time.
I don't think that should trigger you much. It will not surprise you that people being uncultured has nothing to do with information. They're just uncultured and that's it. You said they are learned, right?
How do you consider yourself learned? Like,
yes, exactly. Then that subjects it to doubt. The word learned. Then you're not learned. What do you consider a safe space? It's a very heavy question, but very, very important.
A safe space. I think where someone is seen and heard.
What is being seen?
What is being seen is where they're coming from. Where
us.
they're coming from where they're coming from with their view of life.
Okay.
Where they can express themselves.
Thank you.
And also be heard in the same breath.
That's what you consider a safe space.
I think.
Do you think you've created one?
Yeah. I think. Because I've had a couple of conversations with people where they're like, this is the first time I'm saying this. It feels good and also like, yikes.
Too much responsibility.
Exactly. So you're also careful about how you're handling their conversations.
I think I'm one of those people.
In what sense?
I was party to an episode where we it has come back to you.
Yeah, there are some revelations that come and you're like, yikes. I didn't I didn't foresee that.
I was a father to be. And then life happened.
Yeah.
And then the relationship went down the drain with it. Yeah.
I did not foresee that.
One of the ways...
People keep slapping me with something like, I did not foresee that.
So that's some of the responsibility you created. That's some of the responsibility you carry. You created space for me to express myself.
Yeah.
I'm better now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you being truthful or am I telling lies?
I am chatting up a new girl.
Hey, I told you, you are denying.
I am chatting up a new girl.
You are
what
denying.
Did I deny?
Hey.
To deny that I'm happy?
No, you are denying that girl.
Gundeke. Nabu.
Yeah.
What has been your hardest podcast to date that left you questioning if it's something you want to keep doing? Man, Petero. Petero is on you.
He's a big listener.
He's on to you.
He's a big listener. But it's there are some hard conversations I've had, but they have not thrown me from the want or need of having these conversations.
Hard in what sense?
Hard in the I think the very first time, I think the question that has been going around the most is, what is your favorite podcast? And I've not really had that, but I know for sure what podcasts may have made me blink back my tears for the very first time. Yeah. Which episode is that? It's recently popped up. Stupid.
We want to know.
It was I don't know, is it episode 24 or something like that?
What were you talking about?
It recently popped up. Where is it? Forgive Yourself. Which episode? I think it was 24. I don't know.
Forgive Yourself?
Yeah. I was with Ezra. It's here. Episode 24.
Do you know how heavy that sounds?
Yeah. It's part of my journey to recovery. That was the hardest. That was the nastiest thing that I had to do. That was nasty. So when he was talking about it, I found myself blinking back my tears because I was kind of fresh.
Okay. It was a trigger.
I mean, if you're talking about episode 24, it's just the beginning. So someone is definitely taking you back to your rough patches of healing.
What year was episode 24?
Probably 2021. Yeah, but I had done the work. I think I had done the works in 2018.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I still felt like it put me back in that position where I was at the time, where I cried so much. And
did you cry live on podcast?
2018, I didn't have a podcast at that time. Or like when we were talking,
yes,
I blinked back my tears.
Okay,
I found I just kept like stay in character. That's what they say. Stay.
Yes.
Do not. Like I blinked back my tears, and I don't know if he had, but I don't think he saw it.
I'm not a very strong believer in the stay in character narrative.
Oh, I wept recently when I was talking with. Okay, not weep. Weep is an exaggeration.
I'm so proud.
I cried when I was having a conversation with Deborah. Her book, Rough Silk, tore me apart. And yet, even when we were still having the conversation, it still made me cry. So,
you've had a couple of them.
But I've not come to a place where I feel like I should stop. Even the recent conversation that led to me taking a break, with Helen, I was like, yeah.
When do you not sing?
When do I not sing?
Yeah.
Did he ask that?
He did.
When I'm sleeping.
Can you please value our time, resources, internet, and everything? And she's so happy.
Why did he ask that? Why does he make it look like I sing all the time?
Hey, the other thing I know about you is you have a big, huge daddy laugh.
Daddy laugh.
And it goes on for like half a minute.
Why did he ask that? He makes it look like I sing all the time. You see what I told you? You don't know me.
Bro,
see
we
yourself.
Came here to know you.
My goodness. Why did he ask that though? He makes it...
Well, so don't dodge.
I have days when I don't sing.
Did you sing today? By the way, you haven't told us about...
I did.
Your favorite artist, what songs hold your heart?
I love Ed Sheeran. I love acoustic music. I'm easily sold. Where the voices, acoustic music.
You're making the situation much harder than it should be. I know your land. Like
it's not about being land.
Okay, tell us.
It's not about being land.
Tell us what it means.
This is not a music masterclass, my dear.
We just want to know what the word means. Jeez, man. So mean.
I feel like it's a lot of work. Yeah. But I'm easily drawn to I don't go for genres specifically. If I can hear the artist's voice.
Yes.
In its rawest form, where they're not being covered by Chidongo. That's Chidandali.
Okay. I pity the people who don't know Chidongo. What's Chidongo?
Tudundud.
I meant take notes. Anyway.
Where I really want to hear an artist's voice in its rawest form. If I cannot hear the musicality of someone's voice,
The what?
the musicality of someone's voice, if I can't hear it,
You know what? Just answer it and we go.
if I can't hear it, you just...
Okay, musicality. Will you ever take up art again?
He asked that?
Yes. Or
Did
is
he
it
ask
out?
that? Amma, that's your question.
No, it's right here. I am reading from a script.
But Petro knows me a lot, I think. What?
Will you ever take up art again? Or is it just a piped dream? I feel like you guys use a lot of fancy, The English is on steroids. So,
Where is that question?
can you stop running away? It's question number 6 towards the end.
Like, yo? That one knows me a lot. Jesus Christ.
Will you?
I hope I do.
Jesus Christ, is that an answer?
I hope I do. But then it's also showing up. My art is also showing up in the products that I'm creating under Thriveys.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we have the coloring books and I'm going a bit strong on that.
Okay.
There are other products, of course, like I mentioned, but like I said somewhere that maybe it's something that I'll do in my retirement as an old woman.
I told you.
But I think I'm also trying to get a hold of my life, the new life that I'm living right now, outside formal employment.
Can you not speak in tongues?
Which tongues?
Say what you mean and mean what you say.
Like I said, I do not have control of my life. I'm only hoping that I get to manage my time to a point that allows me to experience art on a personal level. Like not consuming other people's art, but also expressing myself through art, not just coloring books.
In the next 5 minutes, I want you to tell me, is marriage still a thing that clouds your eyes? Or is it something you think you should steer clear of?
Why should I stay clear of marriage?
I don't know. Ask Petro. Petro seems to... He has actually the longest list of questions here. Yeah. He's very curious. Okay, give me a yes
but I
or
can't,
no.
I love...
Don't look at me.
But you
like
can't
that.
say cloud.
I wish they could see you.
You can't
looking
say
at me.
cloud.
Pesaro! I'm speaking for him.
You're the conveyor of the message.
Yes,
Okay.
I am a carrier. You're punching me for doing my job.
Marriage is beautiful. And I'm also coming from this place of love is a beautiful thing. If you can have life, if you can share your life with someone that sees you for who you are and appreciates you for who you are, and you're also doing the same for them, why not get married?
Okay, I
Yeah.
guess he has his answer.
Yeah.
Can you or can you not do without your mom?
My goodness.
You defined her at some point in this podcast as a very... No, let me not cheat. Can you? Can you not? The definitions you gave me.
That's
kind
my
of give
first
me-
love.
Ooh. Fancy. I want to be her right now.
No, you get out.
You're loving on her so much.
That's my first love.
Your eyes. The way you... The way you're talking about your mom. Oh my God.
That's my
Oh
first
God.
love.
She looks so cute.
Nonsense.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't. You can't do without mommy.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Why is he doing that?
Petero. Oh, he's not yet done. How much do you believe in what people say about you?
How much do I... If it's not true, it's not true.
Huh?
Yeah. If something is not true about me, then I don't take it.
I will not believe you.
Why?
That sounds like something you read out of a book. Tell
Where?
me, people say a lot of things that bother me. I can't be alone.
What's the question again?
How much do you believe about what people say?
You see
about
that?
you?
How much do I believe?
So people say, but do you believe?
People tell lies.
Mm.
You see that?
Mm.
So if you have a wrong perception of me and you expect me to believe you, I don't think that's something that I can do. If you are coming to me and calling me a superstar in podcasting, or I am your superstar podcaster, and you've only listened to one podcast, you're like, you.
Yes,
You see that?
You.
It's not.
And you wanted me to leave a review.
I always
after
want
one podcast.
You've listened to plenty of them. What are you talking about?
Hypocrito.
You've listened to many of them. So I can't. Of course, I can't believe whatever someone says about me.
How much does family mean to you? But I believe you answered that already. How much does family mean to you?
Family is a core part of our being. Like, before we go out in the world, this is where we come from.
Talk.
So, and this is a thing that I think I have written it in one of the blogs that I used to put up. I think I've said it before that as parents, we need to, I'm a pseudo parent. As parents, we need to be careful in the way how we relate with our children, because if they are scarred by the world and they have nowhere to fall back to, it's nasty.
Okay.
So where we have to first feel safe in society, it should be family. It matters how we experience them or allow us to express ourselves. Yeah. So family is definitely a big thing for me.
There are two very interesting questions that you still have to answer before we go. The very first one is, how do you come up with your topics of discussions? Topics for discussion.
Yeah.
How do you pick them? How do you zero down on something you wish to talk about? And then we believe that leads into the guests that you eventually bring onto your podcast. That question was from Sita Victoria.
Sita has been on the podcast for a very long time.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. How do I... There's a conversation to be had with everyone. I believe everyone has a story.
Okay.
And it matters with how I approach them. It takes me some time to have an understanding of how I can approach someone.
Okay.
And direct their conversation. There's a time when I was thrown to someone I had not met and really had a conversation with. And we sat here in this studio. I looked at him for some time.
How did that work
I
out?
started asking him some questions outside recording, because I needed to understand, how do we build this conversation? What angle? What am I going to get out of it?
Okay.
So usually sometimes I have the topics, but I don't have someone to talk to about them, or I haven't found the person for them. But when I find them, we're going to have the conversation. Sometimes it is through the posts that people make or comments. Someone can just put something, even if it's just a one-liner, and we can build a whole conversation on that.
Is that how you ensure that the podcast stays on track with the main message resounding in every episode?
Yeah. That is why you cannot just throw someone at me and I don't know what to get out of them. That's the question that I was asking last time. And you say what? You see that? It's not coming from a place of disrespect. It is me trying to make sure that you make sense to my audience.
Okay.
Because I've built an audience that is interested in conversations relating to mental health.
Quickly.
Yeah.
What is the main message?
Mental health.
Good. And finally, a 3-in-1. How have you been able to deal with burnout? What did you do to deal with it? And how do you build consistency and overcome the imposter syndrome? That is Nabukera John.
Imposter syndrome started when I was starting out because I didn't know what I was doing.
For clarity, what is imposter syndrome?
So imposter syndrome is where you feel like an imposter. You don't know, you know what an imposter is?
A person who does not
who pretends to be what they aren't.
Okay.
So when I started the podcast, I had this thing of, I want to have these conversations, but I don't know what podcasting is. I don't know what I have to be doing. So when I started the conversations, I wanted feedback on the topics. But the feedback that I was getting was, is that you're speaking? You have a beautiful voice. So I did not want feedback on my voice. I was like, a talking voice? I'm just talking. What? So I knew it was a lie. And because I didn't have skills in podcasting, I felt like, I think they're just trying to pamper me. I don't have content. So they're trying to find something that will make me feel good. So if you see my first year of content creation, that is 2020, there are so many gaps in those episodes. You find like I come back maybe after 2 months or a month. Like I wanted to leave because I knew, okay, I don't think this is it. But then I really wanted to have the conversations. So I struggled with the imposter syndrome at that time until I came to understand what imposter syndrome is.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, wow.
Is that
it?
Is that how you finally came around to building consistency?
Yes. Because at that time I knew what was holding me behind. Because I attended a masterclass on imposter syndrome that was held by Lavi Ajay. And she was like, what's the worst that can happen? Succeed? But if that's when I came out stronger in 2021. That was the beginning of my consistency.
Wow.
Because I knew, because I think the other question that she was asking in the masterclass was, who is going to tell the story that you want to tell? Who's going to do the work that you want to do? Can you source the person that can do the work that you want to do? Can they convey the message that you want to convey?
No, they can't.
So I knew I had to come out in a way I understand how I'm supposed to come out. And of course, I'm not the same person that I was in 2021. Yes, I came with a difference. But in 2020, like I think every season has its differences, or even within the season, there are changes that happen. And then for the thing of burnout. I think the very first time I experienced this was that year of consistency. I felt spent.
I was discussing with you about drawing from your place. What feeds you?
Oh, what feeds me?
Yes. So burnout and feeding you. Talk about that.
By feeding me, are you looking at me working, delivering from an empty cup?
Yes.
No. There are different things that I get to do that refill me. Sleep is very important, first of all. Rest is very important. And that's something that I've come to terms with, which I was struggling with before. Because when I had my day job,
okay,
that was really hard. That was a little bit hard for me to balance because there were some sleepless nights.
Okay.
And I had to show up. Like you'd sleep at 4, wake up at 6, start reading legal documents the whole day. Drafting documents that are going to protect people's money.
I do not believe I want to be you.
It gets easier. You get the master of it with time, I think.
No.
But for burnout, the very first time I experienced it is 2021 when I first tried the waters of consistency. Before I released the last episode of that year, I was tired. And I shared with one of the guests on the podcast. I think I just had a conversation with her and I was like, I'm going to take a rest. She was like, no, don't. We don't do that. We need you.
Yes, we do.
And I was like, that feels good. In my head.
She was gassing you
It
up.
feels good. I am also guilty for leaving people that say they need me. But to what cost?
To what end are you going to keep feeding them?
And it was hard for me to take that break. That was the very first end of season break that I took.
How did that turn out?
Great.
Nice.
Great. I love taking breaks right now. Like this week, I'm here feeling like, I am not worried about any podcasts. I am just here.
Someone else has to do the worrying for you.
Like who?
Me.
You're gonna bring this out next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perhaps you will start a podcast after this.
Oh, hell no.
I'm giving you internship.
Yeah. Not every time does a good turn deserve another good turn. Anyway. Nabuguzi Chiwanuka.
Yes, please.
I want you to end it with your advice to a person who is afraid of their own greatness.
What's the worst that can happen?
That's your
That's a question.
shot.
That's the question you have to ask yourself. What's the worst that can happen? Money? Who doesn't want money?
Mark Manson, the man we talked about a few hours ago, says, unless you're hungry, money will not solve any of your problems.
Unless you're hungry?
Unless you're hungry.
And when you want to travel?
Well,
when you want to buy a Bugatti? Even when I don't know what it looks like.
If you pay attention to him, he'll say every time you do those things
it's
from
a
an
lie.
empty point of view.
No,
he's talking, it's an around and about thing. Do not look at a Bugatti alone. Look at it from your point of view. When you get that car, then what?
She has asked what I have to tell the person who is scared of their greatness.
Yes.
And the question, my response to that question is, what's the worst that can happen? Who is going to tell your story?
Interesting.
Who?
Interesting.
Because I also wanted to depart from the foundation. As soon as I registered, I wanted to deregister.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Because I was like, what the heck? I'm going to be at the forefront of something? I wanted to deregister there, and then I was like, I've made a mistake. I was doing charity outreaches from like 2014. And for some places where we went to, they usually ask, I don't know why they were asking that. They were like, so who is the leader? Who cares? We have all come. We have given you stuff. Why are you asking for the leader? I didn't like that question.
So that's where you came from.
I've always been a backbencher.
What's the worst that can happen?
What's the worst that can happen? Think about the change that you're not going to effect. It's like some form of selfishness, because if you stay with that kind of knowledge, just because you're scared of being at the forefront. Me, I felt like, bro, who's going to take care of these kids now?
I am scared.
About what?
About what could happen. Like you asked.
Yeah. If you're scared of being at number one or at the forefront, just because you probably feel like, I'm going to be seen and things like that.
Isolation.
How about the people, the change that you're going to effect in their lives?
Very interesting.
Yeah, but it doesn't also mean that I'm like a professional at these things. Because much as I am already in the field of podcasting, I'm still uncomfortable with being out there in public and someone randomly calls my name, like, what the heck? Who is that? And you look at them and you also don't know them.
So
that's something that I'm also struggling with.
What's
And
the
yet
worst that
I'm
can
also,
happen?
and yet I'm also, I'm also feeling like I don't think I have control of that. I can't know everyone. Who knows me?
You don't have it all figured out.
No, I can't. I can't have everything figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
The want for us to have everything figured out is the source of our anxieties.
Please repeat your submission.
The want of us to have everything figured out is the beginning of our anxieties, is the source of our anxieties.
There's no need for me to repeat or to undo what you just said or to reinforce or to add. That has been it from Nabuguzi Chiwanuka, the host of the HTNK podcast. It has been very nice having you on your own podcast.
Thank you.
From the other side.
Yeah.
And this has been a conversation I've been dying to have. I know you a little more because of this conversation. And it has been such an honor. If she has made you feel that good, please keep listening, recommend, share, like and comment wherever you listen to your podcasts, and please share widely. That has been it for this episode. From me and Nabuguzi Chiwanuka, we are
Sign
out.
out. Bye.
Bye-bye.